Rain tapped gently against the glass walls of Emma Carter's downtown Seattle apartment as she stood in front of the bedroom mirror, holding her wedding dress against her body. The ivory fabric shimmered softly in the afternoon light. Only 87 days remained until the wedding. For 6 years, Emma had imagined this moment. She had met Ryan Brooks during her first week at a marketing agency. They had grown together, celebrated promotions, traveled across the country, and built what everyone called the perfect relationship. Her coworkers envied them. Her parents adored Ryan. Even strangers smiled whenever they saw the two together. Emma believed she had already found her happily ever after. She couldn't have been more wrong. Emma's life was built on discipline. At 30 years old, she was a senior marketing executive earning more than she had ever dreamed possible. Her calendar was color-coded. Her apartment looked like it belonged in a design magazine. Every weekend was planned months in advance. But beneath that polished life, she had quietly stopped making time for herself. Photography had once been her greatest passion. As a teenager, she carried an old camera everywhere she went. Sunrises, street musicians, coffee shops, rain-soaked sidewalks. She believed every ordinary moment held extraordinary beauty. Then adulthood arrived. Bills replaced dreams. Deadlines replaced sunsets. Her camera was eventually tucked into the back of a closet. One Thursday afternoon, Emma left work early to surprise Ryan with tickets for a weekend trip to Napa Valley. She smiled the entire drive home. As she opened the apartment door, laughter echoed from the bedroom. Not television laughter. Real laughter. She walked down the hallway. The bedroom door was slightly open. Ryan stood beside someone. Not just anyone. Lauren. Emma's closest friend since college. For several seconds, nobody spoke. The ticket slipped from Emma's hand and floated on to the hardwood floor. Lauren burst into tears. Ryan tried explaining. It isn't what it looks like. Emma laughed quietly. Really? Silence. 6 years ended in less than 60 seconds. The weeks that followed felt like surviving underwater. The wedding was canceled. Vendors refunded only part of the deposits. Friends chose sides. Some disappeared completely. Emma couldn't sleep. Every corner of Seattle reminded her of memories that no longer belonged to her. One evening, exhausted after another 12-hour workday, she stared at herself in the bathroom mirror. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes. Her smile had vanished. She whispered something she had never admitted aloud. I don't even know who I am anymore. The next morning, she resigned. Her manager looked shocked. You're walking away from the biggest promotion of your career. Emma nodded. I think I'm walking towards something more important. 2 months later, everything she owned fit inside a small moving truck. Along with her golden retriever, Charlie, she drove south along the Oregon coast. No luxury apartment. No fiancé. No prestigious title. Only uncertainty. She rented a tiny white cottage overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The cottage creaked whenever the wind blew. The kitchen was barely large enough for one person. The internet was slow. The nearest grocery store was 15 minutes away. It was perfect. For the first time in years, Emma woke to waves instead of alarm clocks. Healing wasn't dramatic. It happened quietly. She learned to cook again. She planted flowers outside the cottage. Charlie insisted on morning beach walks every single day. One chilly morning, while photographing seashells with the old camera she had rediscovered in storage, an elderly woman approached. You've got a good eye. Emma smiled politely. Thank you. I'm Olivia. I'm Emma. Olivia had spent 40 years traveling the world as a magazine photographer before retiring to the coast. She noticed the hesitation in Emma's hands. You know the technical side, Olivia said. But you're afraid. Emma looked confused. Afraid of what? Being seen. Those words stayed with Emma for days. Olivia became an unexpected mentor. They spent weekends exploring forests, cliffs, and hidden beaches. She never criticized Emma's work. Instead, she asked questions. What story are you trying to tell? What emotion did you feel when you pressed the shutter? Photography slowly stopped being about perfect pictures. It became about honest moments. Emma photographed fishermen before sunrise, children chasing waves, fog rolling across pine forests. An elderly couple holding hands after 50 years together. Life. Real life. One rainy evening, Emma created a social media page for her photographs. She expected maybe 20 followers. Instead, one image changed everything. It showed Charlie sitting alone on a driftwood log while the sunset painted the sky with shades of gold and violet. The caption simply read, "Sometimes the hardest journeys lead us home." The photograph spread across thousands of accounts. Then millions. Comments poured in from around the world. Women wrote about divorce. Students wrote about anxiety. Mothers wrote about starting over after losing loved ones. The picture wasn't just beautiful. It made people feel understood. 3 weeks later, a travel magazine contacted her. "We'd love to feature your work." Emma almost deleted the email, convinced it was fake. It wasn't. The assignment paid more than she had expected. Then another client called. A boutique hotel wanted photographs. Then a tourism campaign. Then an outdoor clothing company. Within 2 years, Emma owned a thriving photography business. She hired assistants. She taught workshops. She published a coffee table book called Second Sunrise, celebrating people who rebuilt their lives after heartbreak. The book became a bestseller. One afternoon at a marine conservation fundraiser, Emma met Noah Bennett. Unlike most people, he didn't recognize her from social media. Instead, he asked about Charlie. "Does he always smile that much?" Emma laughed. "Only when snacks are involved." Noah was a marine biologist who spent his days studying whales and protecting coastal ecosystems. He loved quiet mornings, old bookstores, kayaking, long conversations. He never tried to impress Emma. He simply listened. Their friendship grew naturally. Months later, friendship became love. Not the dramatic kind built on grand promises. The peaceful kind built on trust. 3 years passed. Emma received an invitation to speak at a women's entrepreneurship conference in Seattle. Returning to the city felt strange. The skyline looked familiar, yet she felt like a visitor. Standing backstage, she remembered the broken woman who had left with tears in her eyes. That woman no longer existed. Emma stepped onto the stage before hundreds of people. She spoke about failure, heartbreak, courage, starting over. Near the back of the audience sat Ryan. Older, quieter, listening. After the event ended, he waited outside. "Emma." She turned. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "I owe you an apology," Ryan finally said. "I hurt someone who only ever loved me. I've regretted it every day." Emma looked at him with calm eyes. Years earlier, she would have dreamed of this moment. Now, it felt surprisingly ordinary. "I appreciate you saying that," she replied. "I don't expect forgiveness." Emma smiled gently. "I forgave you a long time ago." Ryan looked confused. "Why?" "Because carrying anger was too heavy." She paused before adding, "Losing you wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of the life I was meant to live." She wished him W. Ellen walked away, not because she wanted revenge, because she had already won something far greater than revenge. Peace. That evening, Emma returned to the Oregon coast. Charlie raced across the sand, chasing seagulls. Noah joined her, carrying 2 cups of hot coffee. The sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, painting the ocean in brilliant shades of orange, pink, and gold. Emma leaned against Noah's shoulder. Years ago, she believed happiness meant having a flawless plan. Now she understood something different. Life would never be perfect. People would disappoint you. Dreams would change. Doors would close without warning. But every ending carried the possibility of a new beginning, if you were brave enough to walk toward it. As the waves rolled endlessly onto the shore, Emma smiled. She had once thought she had lost everything. In truth, she had only lost the life that was never meant for her. And in letting it go, she found the one she had been searching for all along.